When society gives up on someone, it does so quietly. Not with sirens, not with warnings, but with turned backs, closed doors, and silence where help should be. They decided her future before she ever had a chance to speak. They labeled her weak, unlucky, disposable. They said, "This is as far as she'll go." But here's what they didn't understand. Giving up on her didn't end her story. It started her fire. Because when the world walked away, she stayed. And that changed everything. Society has a habit of deciding who matters. It draws invisible lines between the successful and the forgotten, the worthy and the replaceable, the people who deserve chances, and the people who are expected to survive without them. She was placed on the wrong side of that line early in life. Not because she lacked talent, not because she lacked intelligence, but because she was born into circumstances no one chooses. A home where struggle lived permanently, a world that demanded strength before teaching it. From the beginning, life did not meet her with softness. It met her with expectations she could never satisfy and limitations she never agreed to. They told her who she was before she could discover it herself. She won't go far. She's not built for more. This is just her fate. And slowly, people stopped expecting anything from her at all. When society let go, it starts subtly. A teacher who stops encouraging, an employer who never calls back, a family member who says, "Be realistic." Dreams are dismissed as foolish. Ambition is treated like rebellion. Hope becomes something she's expected to outgrow. Society didn't push her down all at once. It wore her down. Every rejection taught her that effort didn't matter. Every closed door whispered that persistence was pointless. Every silence screamed that she was invisible. Eventually, people stopped asking about her future. They assumed she'd accepted her place, but they were wrong. The moment she realized no one was coming. There comes a moment in every abandoned life when you realize something terrifying and liberating at the same time. No one is coming to save you. No apology from the world. No second chances handed freely. No rescue from the pain you didn't deserve. For her, that moment arrived quietly. Not during a dramatic collapse, not during public humiliation, but alone, tired, exhausted from carrying expectations that were never hers. She looked around and understood. If her life was going to change, she would have to be the one to change it. And that realization hurt, because it meant accepting the truth. Society had already moved on. Choosing herself when no one else did. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they believe the world's verdict. She almost did. Almost accepted that she was too late, too broken, too far behind. But something inside her refused to die. A quiet voice that said, "If they've already given up on you, you have nothing left to lose." So she chose herself. Not loudly, not confidently, but stubbornly. She worked when no one watched. She learned when no one believed. She improved without applause. Progress was slow, painful, lonely, but it was hers. The invisible battles. What people never see are the private wars behind a strong woman's calm face. The nights she cried silently so no one would call her weak. The mornings she showed up exhausted because quitting felt worse. The fear of failing again and being proven right. Every step forward came with doubt. Not just her own, but the doubt of everyone who remembered her past and refused to imagine her future. They reminded her who she used to be. She focused on who she was becoming. When resilience became her identity, strength didn't arrive suddenly. It was built. One refusal at a time, one small victory after another, one painful lesson turned into wisdom. She learned to stand alone, to trust herself, to stop seeking permission to exist loudly. The world didn't soften. She hardened, without becoming cruel. She became resilient, and resilience changes everything. The turning point. No one applauded her breakthrough didn't look like a movie moment. No crowd cheering, no instant success, no viral validation. It looked like consistency, showing up again, trying again, failing better. While society stayed silent, she kept moving, and slowly, something shifted. People who once ignored her began to notice, not because she asked for attention, but because her growth demanded it. When society pretended it never doubted her, this is the part no one warns you about. When you succeed, the same society that doubted you will act like it supported you all along. They'll say, "We always knew she had it in her." They didn't. And she remembers. She remembers the silence, the dismissal, the abandonment, but she doesn't carry bitterness. She carries proof. What she learned. She learned that worth is not assigned by crowds, that strength grows in isolation, that survival is not weakness, it's training. She learned that being underestimated is a weapon if you refuse to believe it. Most importantly, she learned this: society giving up on you does not mean you give up on yourself. Her story isn't rare, it's just rarely told. Because it doesn't begin with privilege, it doesn't rely on luck, it doesn't wait for permission. It begins with rejection and ends with refusal. Refusal to disappear. Refusal to accept limits. Refusal to let silence define her. When society gave up on her, it thought her story was over. But it wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a woman who learned to stand without approval, fight without witnesses, and rise without permission. And if the world has ever walked away from you, remember this: they don't decide your ending. You do.